Just can't seem to get enough Z's at night? You are not alone, according to new research. 6 in 10 Americans are sleep deprived, with the U.S. coming in at number 4 for the most sleep-deprived country in the world, the U.K. taking the number 1 spot. Researchers say lack of sleep is messing with our personal time because most people want to catch up on sleep during the weekend or on vacation. But can you really catch up on missed sleep?
Oh,
wake up.
It's time. All right,
That
here are some answers this morning. Our good friend, Dr. Matthew Knight. Great to see you, Doc. How are you?
It was a good nap, yeah.
Good active morning.
We need those little power naps, don't we?
All right, doctor, what happens if we don't get enough sleep?
It's not good. You know, yeah, when we don't get enough sleep, there's all kinds of stuff that we're familiar with where we don't feel right, we feel kind of sticky the next day. It can lead to depression, decreased sex drive, irritability. You can't make good decisions. But if you chronically don't get enough sleep, it can lead to serious health problems like diabetes, trouble with weight, obesity, heart disease, Alzheimer's, you name it. So the thing is that in America, we tend to treat sleep like it's a luxury, but it's not. It's a core part of how we rebuild ourselves when we're asleep. So it's as important as what we eat. It's as important as exercise. It's critical to our well-being.
We hear people all the time say, oh, I can get by on 4 or 5 hours and I'm fine. And then there are other people who say, I can't survive unless I get 8 or 9. Does everybody sort of have their own amount of time?
Well, the people that say that they can only get 4 or 5 hours aren't telling the truth.
Okay.
Adults need about 7 to 8 hours. Only 3% of the country can get by on 6 hours or less.
Wow.
3%?
3%.
So what do the rest of us do?
Well, what happens is you start incurring what we call a sleep debt. So you start robbing it from the piggy bank, and eventually you have to put it back in, because if you don't, then you're going to suffer all those problems of people that don't sleep enough. I brought some data of myself just to kind of to show that you can track your sleep with journals or use technology. This is called a Whoop band.
And that's what you do, right?
Right.
You actually use
You're wearing that on your
watch
wrist?
Right, and this tracks every night how much sleep you get, and it functions like a sleep coach to help you to know how much sleep to get. In this case, I missed by about an hour, so I was supposed to get about 8 hours. I got 7.5 hours, which means I incurred about an hour of sleep debt. But this is really cool because it can show you all different facets of your sleep, like REM sleep, which is when we form dreams and we process memories, or slow wave deep sleep, which is when our body reprocesses things or improves our immune function, builds bone, and builds muscle. This is critical to our well-being.
So this is a measurement of our sleep, essentially.
It is, and it can function like a coach to tell you if you're not doing what you need to do. And all of us lead busy lives. It's really hard to hit these numbers, but it's absolutely critical to our well-being that we do this on a routine basis.
You have little kids, they crawl in bed with you, and that wakes you up. That's not
That's
good
why I missed that
sleep,
1 hour.
Pets.
So, you know, the other thing I think it's interesting, too, is the other thing we're hearing now is, okay, so say you set your bedtime at 10 o'clock, but if you're not tired at 10 o'clock, going to bed at 10 o'clock is not going to help you. Is that right?
A lot of it is about routine. So getting into these habits on a daily and even the weekend basis to where your body is triggered and knows it's time to go to bed. That means what doctors call sleep hygiene, just like oral hygiene. We want to get in the habit of having a good sleep environment that's cool, a nice soft pillow. If it's loud where you are, then use a white noise maker. If it's bright, use an eye pillow. Try to avoid things like alcohol before you go to bed because your body's busy processing the toxins instead of trying to get to sleep. And you get in that routine of not using things like video games or blue screens while you're trying to sleep because it makes a huge difference.
Last question for you. How much time do I need between a glass of wine or two and my meal and the time I hit my pillow?
So a lot of people have a glass of wine or maybe with some chocolate before they go to bed to try to get to sleep. But alcohol is a toxin that your body has to process. And so instead of rebuilding itself and working on your immune system or your bones or your muscles, it's trying to get rid of the toxins. So it's a couple hours.
A couple of
hours? Same thing with chocolate has caffeine in it. So caffeine blunts your body's ability to enter those deep stages of sleep. So you have to be careful with the common things we do, or sleep aids or other tablets you can take to try to get to sleep, because while it does get you to sleep, you're getting less good quality sleep. So it's about quality and quantity.
I know David said last question, but what about melatonin? A lot of people say, well, it's natural. Is that okay?
Well, it's true that melatonin is how our body gets to sleep, but the problem is our bodies know that you're taking extra melatonin and we naturally produce less. And that's the last thing I wanted to get to, is that if you start to really have sleep problems, something doctors call insomnia, then it's time to see a doctor. If you find yourself gasping for breath when you sleep, called apnea, or other metabolic reasons why you're not sleeping well, there are physicians out there that can help you learn to get in these healthy sleep cycles that'll affect your life in broad ways that you'll never expect. You'll feel wonderful once you start getting good sleep.
Dr. Matthew Knight.
Thank you, Doc.
Thanks so much for having me on.
To a man now who never gets enough sleep, our good friend Jamie King.